Welcome. I'm doing this webinar and I'm looking at myself the whole time and my head is so big. I don't know what you see on your end, but I want to get started. So tonight I want to cover your eating plan. I want to cover your diet and what you should be eating. A lot of you, okay, so some of you can see me, and let me know if you can see me. I can see myself. Okay, good. You can see me. Okay, good. So tonight we're going to talk about your diet. A lot of you have entered in what you eat on a daily basis, and we need to talk because I see some things we need to change. But I went through as many as I could squeeze in for the next half hour, and so we're just going to go right through it and kind of analyze it. And I recommend take some notes, and I would take some of the things that I show you tonight and help your friends and neighbors and family, so that way you can analyze their diets as well. So let's just open my screen sharing here and go right to, let's see if I can find it here. I think it's, where is this thing here? All right, where are you? Let's see. Close this down. Sorry about the delay. There we go. Perfect. No, it's right here. Okay, good. So, diet analysis. The way I look at someone's food log is I pretty much draw a piece of paper and I look at all the things that create health and all the things that will destroy health. And I just go right down the list and I look at it from the viewpoint of creating health versus destroying health. There are some foods that are neutral foods. For example, oatmeal really doesn't have any nutrition in it, but it's not bad for you. So, I mean, it's like eating cardboard. It's not going to kill you, but it is really not a lot of nutrition in oatmeal, unfortunately, unless you have steel cut and there's some more nutrition. But a lot of people have the instant oatmeal thinking that they're getting some nutrition. They're really not. Okay, so there are also foods that you omit in your diet that will destroy your health as well. We'll cover that as we go through. I'm going to be talking about your eating plan based on fat burning. Are you burning fat? How to burn fat? What are you missing from your diet? What's going to stop you from burning fat? We're going to look at different hormonal aspects and then also your body type. Of course, I did not ask those questions as far as to determine your body type, but I'll go through some things with your body type so you can kind of understand what you should be eating based on your body type. Reducing cravings. Some of you crave certain things. I'm going to show you what to do to get rid of cravings. Because it's impossible to do a program while you crave. And then I'm going to talk about how to get all the nutrition that you really need from your diet. Okay, so with that, let's go right into the body types. Now, I want to flip back here for 1 second. Let me see here. Okay. I just saw a button I had to click so you could actually see. Can you see my PowerPoint presentation? Can you see the body types on this, hopefully? Because I want to make sure that I'm not doing like half the seminar, all of a sudden I find out that you can't even see it. I think you can see it. It says you are screen sharing, presenting to everyone, so it should be fine. So if you look at the first body type on the left, that is the adrenal body type. And those types, generally speaking, need more protein than other types. Not excessive amounts, but they need a little more protein because their body is breaking down more protein because the hormones are called catabolic. That means hormones that have the ability to break things down faster than they can build back up. So those people need to have a little more protein with each meal, okay? They also are losing potassium through the urine, and they need to consume a lot of potassium from their foods. How do we get potassium? From vegetables. So they need to consume the greens, but they tend to have a bit more bloating with certain vegetables. So they might not be able to do broccoli. So we don't want them to bloat while they eat. So they need more protein. They don't want to do complete like a protein diet, like an Atkins diet, because they're not going to get any vitamins or minerals from the vegetables. So we need to beef up the greens. Okay. They also, believe it or not, everyone's pushing this alkaline diet, alkalizer diet, alkaline water. Well, with adrenal, their blood is excessively alkaline. So we need to acidify them. They do really well with things like apple cider vinegar with water and little lemon with water, kombucha tea. They do very well with that. And then because that's an adrenal type and they go through a lot of stress, they definitely need the B vitamins. But make sure that if you're that type, don't ever consume synthetic unless you're doing some type of detox, but not long term. You want to get a natural B complex. I'm going to recommend nutritional yeast, and that will take away a lot of stress, mental stress, physical stress. And the more you use your brain and your mind and you're pushing yourself through the day, the more B vitamins that you deplete, specifically B1. And one of the interesting things that will indicate B1 is if you have nightmares, if you have excessive vivid dreams, then you need more B1. All right. As we go through this, I'm going to answer questions. Someone says your slideshow is frozen. That's because it should be frozen. I didn't move it. It's just on one slide right now. Is salt substitute a source of potassium? No, but they do have different types of potassium salts that you can consume. I recommend get your potassium from vegetables, but you're going to need 5 to 7 to even 9 to 10 cups of salad a day. It's not hard to do that, especially if you have you cut it up and have it, not like make it easy to digest. You don't have to always have lettuce. You can use cabbage as your salad as well, or spinach. It's totally fine. All right, so to summarize, this type right here, first type, needs more protein, more potassium, more of an acidic drink, B vitamins, and they also need some fat. Why? Because their blood sugars are usually off, and they need some type of, don't go low fat with that type. So I'm not opposed to having more fat, even meaty fat, in your diet, because they'll do well on that. It's not going to turn into fat. So as we go through this, I do want to let you know that the way that you were probably taught that you have to reduce your sodium, your fat grams, drink more water, cut your calories, that is soon to be outdated information. It's just not workable. All right, so let me go to the next body type. And the next one is the ovary type. You can see the hips. That is an excessive estrogen body type. So let me make sure that you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. Let me just make sure. Where am I here? Now it disappeared. Let me just try to find it, because I want you to see this next body type. It should be right there. Let me see if it's coming up. All right, entire screen. Let me try it again. Oh, now where is it? Entire screen? No. Okay. So I'm going to continue to try to figure out where this slide went. Let me just click off some of these other slides real fast so I can do this. Maybe it'll work right now. Let's see if it works. No. Okay. So this next body type is the person that has weight in the hip area. And those types, they need to be careful about excessive estrogen. So they want to make sure that they never consume food with just the hormones. They want organic foods. They want meats that are grass-fed, hormone-free, especially dairy, yogurt, kefir, butter, cheese. All those things must not contain hormones, because that's what messed them up. They also have to avoid soy products, and that would be especially in the soy protein isolates and all the diet shakes. Read the labels. Make sure that you do not consume soy. A lot of the bars that they have right now are totally loaded with soy, and that acts as estrogen. But the foods that they should eat are anti-estrogenic foods, and that would be the cruciferous. That would be cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts. If they had a kale shake every day, a couple, that would be very beneficial to help balance the estrogen. They can consume a bit more protein, and they can also have a similar eating plan than the adrenal, because the adrenal and ovary are very similar. They produce very similar hormones. Okay. Third shape is the, see if I can pull it up now. Let's see if it came up. I don't know why that doesn't show up. That's weird. The ovary type. The ovary type, let me see here. No, I'm sorry, the thyroid type. That is the person that's gaining weight. Here we go. All right, good, we got it. Perfect, okay. So the third type is the person that has gained weight all over, not in any one location. That's a thyroid type. There's two primary causes for thyroid. One is that they're not converting the thyroid hormone to the liver, in which case you need to have them eat foods to support the liver. And that would be not consuming too much protein, maybe having a lot of vegetables to clean out the liver. And I'm recommending that you have, and when I talk about more protein, I'm talking about really 6 to 7 ounces. I'm not talking about 8 to 9 to 10 ounces. I'm just talking about what you would consider average. Okay, but if we want to clean the liver out, because if we look at the last body type, that's the liver type. You can see the pot belly. That's a liver type, but again, the liver malfunction can cause a thyroid. You would want to consume foods for the liver. So that would be lower amounts of protein, maybe 2 to 3 ounces of protein with each meal. That's all. So this type, if it's like, the question is, how do you know if your thyroid problem is coming from the gallbladder, liver, or high estrogen? Well, first of all, ask yourself, do you get bloating? Do you have gallbladder symptoms? Do you have liver problems? Have you had your gallbladder removed? Do you get burping, belching, all that? Those things that you should find out. And then if you do, then you can go ahead and start eating correctly for that body type. But when I talk about protein, I'm talking about per meal, not per day. So if it's over here on the adrenal type, they should be consuming about 6 to 7 ounces per meal, and these liver types should have 2 to 3 ounces per meal. Okay. All right. Now, I'm trying to give you the basics. There is definitely complexities, because let's say you're a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. What do you do? Don't worry about that right now. I will go through on a lot of different cases, and we'll just show you what you should be doing, generally speaking. Because let's say you're confused and you don't know if your thyroid problem is coming from the gallbladder or high estrogen. And let's say it's obvious and you have good digestion, but you have heavy periods. Then we know it's estrogen. So now I would have you eat according to the ovary type, because that is the root cause of the thyroid problem. It's very rare to have a primary thyroid issue. But what's really even interesting, if you have an adrenal case and you get an autoimmune situation, that can also cause a thyroid issue. So you really have to kind of take the data, look at each part, and see what makes sense. The other way to do it is to start with one eating plan, see how you feel, see how you do, and then go to the next one and see which one does better. Because sometimes you don't really know unless you try. Some people do very well on high protein, some people do not. But the thyroid cases generally they do very well with cruciferous vegetables, but make sure you have the iodine with sea kelp. That works really good. And they need a smaller amount of protein because the metabolism is so slow, they can't digest large amounts of protein. The other thing that they need would be trace minerals. Trace minerals help the conversion of proteins into body tissue, like hair, nails, skin. If you have brittle nails, loss of hair, skin that's falling off your body, then we know that you might need some trace minerals to activate the protein, collagen. versus just consuming more protein, which doesn't work. So a lot of people that consume trace minerals, all of a sudden their hair stops falling out. They do very well. In fact, next Tuesday, I'm going to release a video on that. Now, another question is, how much iodine should you take? I always recommend that you consume it in a food-based thing like sea kelp. You know, have like 2 or 3 sea kelp tablets a day to get your iodine, and that should be enough. You don't necessarily need so much, like 4 milligrams of iodine, whatever, like, because iodine works in a complex with all the minerals. And when you consume straight iodine, not a plant-based iodine, it's very difficult for your body to utilize that. It's much better to have a food-based because it breaks down easier. Last case is the liver type. You can see the pot belly here. This person should not consume large quantities of protein. They would do very well as a vegetarian, but a real vegetarian where they're actually eating vegetables, because with that, they can clean out the liver, support the liver, and do very well with the gallbladder and lose a lot of weight, because a lot of that weight in the stomach is fluid. Okay? All right. So that is the body types. Now we're going to get into a couple other things here. I'm going to go right to the next slide. Let's see if you can see that. Oh yeah, you can. Okay, good. Well, guess what? They just found out that eggs are not as bad as they thought they were. I'm talking about the government, the new guidelines, governmental guidelines from the nutritionist are finally, after 40 years, said that eggs are okay to consume, but they still say that butter is still bad. First of all, please don't get your health information from the government. You're not going to get the correct information. It's 40 years too late. Eggs, like I've been saying for 25 years, is the most perfect food that you can possibly eat. In fact, let me just go to the next slide to show you what's in an egg. Here we go. I don't know if you can see it, but these are Canadian eggs. But if you have eggs from chickens that are fed organically, free range, they're the best. They provide a lot of vitamins, a lot of minerals, and the best part is the yolk. The yolk is where all the real good nutrition is. So if you just eat egg whites, you're just getting a real small portion. But in the yolk, they have lecithin to counter cholesterol. So don't worry about that. I do 4 eggs every single day. I've been doing it forever. If you're a female and you don't weigh that much, I weigh 210 pounds. Maybe you want to do 2 eggs. Okay, maybe you don't like eggs. I'm just saying, if you like eggs, it's a very good way to get your nutrition. So don't worry about eggs. And also butter. Butter is actually good. It's not a bad thing. Again, probably another 40 years, they'll tell you it's okay to eat butter. There's a lot of nutrition in butter, but I also always recommend the Kerrygold butter. You can get it from any health food store. Okay, so a lot of you filled out your food logs for me yeah, eggs are good for all body types, by the way, Kim. So I'm going to go through some of the some people who fill out the food log so I can analyze their diet. So let's first look at April. April, for breakfast, she had toast, toast and meat or yogurt with fruit, granola, or a smoothie or shake. For a snack, she usually does not snack. That's fine. Grilled chicken, wrapped with veggies, salad, chicken salad, no bread with lettuce and tomato. I like that. I like that. So she probably wraps it with the lettuce. That's a very good idea. Dinner, maybe nothing, depending on how she feels, or vegetable soup, beans, rice, or vegetables with grilled chicken. Okay, so the good things are she's having protein for breakfast sometimes. That's good. I love her lunch. That's really good. I also, if she has a good, healthy vegetable soup, if she makes it herself, that's really good. Again, she has vegetables, grilled chicken. I'm okay with that. But here's the thing that I want to talk about. You want the breakfast to have no carbs in it at all. I'm talking about refined carbs and hidden sugars like toast. Why? Because that is going to nullify any type of fat burning effect on your body. Now, Beth just asked a question. I find that I'm very cyclical in eating. Spring, summer, fall, I eat a lot of vegetables. Winter, not so much. That's totally fine, Beth. But here's the thing. Make sure you get your vitamins and minerals from something. Believe it or not, a lot of the vegetables that people eat provide most of the vitamins and minerals. The question is, where are you getting them? Do you have some type of substitute that you're going to be able to get your vitamins from and minerals? So make sure that you have that under control. But toast is going to be a problem. It's also going to slow down fat burning. And just a little bit of toast could knock you out of fat burning for at least 8 hours, unfortunately, especially if your metabolism is low. Now, there are levels of grains that are better than others. Ezekiel bread is better than white bread. But again, if you're trying to burn fat, you might not want to consume any toast. Now, the yogurt is something else I want to talk about. Yogurt, make sure that you do not consume the plain yogurt. Why? I'm sorry, the vanilla yogurt or the flavored yogurt, because there's a lot of sugar in that yogurt. Make sure it's plain and make sure that it doesn't contain any sugar, added sugar, okay? Another person says, how can I persuade my husband that eating a little carb will halt fat burning? Well, have him read my book, watch the videos, and try an experiment. Try to eat a little carb and see if you lose weight. Chances are you won't. If you cut the carb out, then you can prove it to yourself that it works. So I always like to, instead of telling someone that this is true, I recommend go ahead and demonstrate it on yourself. Put yourself in a place where you can just do what I'm recommending and see if it works for you. Then you don't need to believe me. You can just try it. What I want to do is give you the mistakes of a lot of people over many years, so you don't have to make the same mistake over and over and over. Okay. So now, by the way, this video is being recorded. So if you're losing connection, it's basically your computer's not working correctly, but this will be recorded perfectly and it'll be up right when I get done. Now, the other thing that's really high in sugar is the granola. Granola is massively high in sugar. It's not a good health food product at all. The other thing is fruit for breakfast. I don't recommend a lot of fruit for breakfast, maybe a little berries, but not a lot. Why? Because fruit turns into sugar a lot faster than vegetables. So we don't want to create a blood sugar problem early on during the day. If you're going to have some fruit, it's better to have it in the later part of the day, because this fruit is going to affect your sugars, and at the end of the day, you're going to have a tendency to crave more sweet and be a little bit more tired. So here's a great thing to test out. Try this experiment. Consume a fruit breakfast, granola breakfast, one day, and then the next day have a completely protein breakfast, and see how well you do through the day. And you'll be able to prove it to yourself. At the end of the day, you'll have a lot more energy if you have protein, and you won't have a blood sugar issue, and mentally you won't have brain fog. So the next thing right here, she had grilled chicken. Okay, soup. Yeah, rice and beans, those turn into sugar pretty fast. So you might want to avoid those, April. And the other thing is that I want to make sure that the quantity of vegetables are high enough to provide the nutrition. So I don't know that from what April typed in, but I should have asked her how many cups of vegetables is she consuming. Here's some hidden sugars. We got the flavored yogurt, the granola, and of course the fiber one. There's just a lot of sugar in these things. So read labels, look at the sugar grams. Don't worry about the fat grams or sodium grams. Check this out. French vanilla, look at low fat. This is what really ticks me off. If you go to the store and you try to find some whole milk, yogurt, I want the fat in there. That's the good part. Look at this, 28 grams of sugar. What they're doing is they're putting attention on the fat, but not the sugar. The sugar is what's killing them, not the fat. So if you're going to have Stonyfield, make sure it is plain and whole fat. Okay? So that's what I want you to do on that. Let's look at Jim. Jim has bacon, eggs, cheese on a roll. So the first thing I'm going to say is, Jim, I have no problem with you doing bacon. Just buy the bacon from something like Trader Joe's where they have no nitrates, hormone-free. Totally fine. It's not a problem, Jim. It's not going to hurt you. It's not a bad product. Some people freak out about, pigs, but pork. But what happens is that chicken is much dirtier than pork, just so you know. So I'm not against bacon, especially if it's nitrate-free and it's organic. And okay, eggs, cheese, good, but this roll has to go. We don't want to do the roll. We don't want to do the crackers. We don't want to do the bread with the cheese and ham. You'd be much better if you just took some ham and melted some cheese over it and consumed that with a little bit of salad. Now the apple. Jim, it's not a problem, especially in male bodies. The only time I recommend not consuming apples is if you're really trying to lose weight and you've tried everything. An apple could be enough sugar to slow you down. And so in some people, to accelerate weight loss, I'll have them cut out all apples and I'll switch them to celery and peanut butter. Okay, so for dinner he has meat, burger, sloppy joes, tacos, and then he has a cheesecake. Okay, Jim, the cheesecake is going to pretty much, sit in your stomach all night, the sugar, and it's just going to cause you to gain weight, unfortunately. Sloppy joes, make sure that you read the label and it doesn't have all these high fructose corn syrup and MSG and sugar, so you want to avoid that. Carol, breakfast, 2 packs of instant oatmeal. Oatmeal, it's not going to kill you, but it's not going to help you. It's like eating cardboard. There's nothing really in it. The other thing you want to realize is that carb breakfast, at the end of the day, you're going to feel brain fog, tired, craving for sweets, and weak. You probably want to take a nap right around 5, 6 o'clock at night. So you'd want to switch this. If she just switched the breakfast to a protein breakfast, and let me just show you what I mean by that. See if you can see this here. So if you look right here, we have a kale shake for breakfast, and then we have eggs. One day, this person has a little piece of meat, steak, omelets, eggs. Totally good. Good breakfast. Looking for lunch. Some vegetable with some protein, fish. Perfect. Nuts, cheese, not a problem. Another vegetable, protein. And then look at apple, hummus, cheese, nuts, snack. This would be like the ideal scene if you can do that. Let me just check the questions right here. Yeah, so someone said that they mix blueberries, bananas, kale, spinach, cinnamon, wow, it's like ice cream. So you're mixing everything. I think you said Smart One. I don't know what that is, Bradley, but Smart One, turn beyond to almond milk with blueberries, bananas, kale, spinach, carrots. Well, that sounds like an interesting, good thing to do, probably like in a shake. The berries in the kale shake, I recommend blueberries and other berries because that is the lowest glycemic index versus bananas. But you can do some banana. I'm not against that. But again, I'm dealing with people that cannot lose weight no matter what, and I just cut out some of that stuff, especially in the beginning. Okay. Now, Carol, oatmeal, granola bar, it's a lot of sugar. I'm curious if your yogurt is flavored. It might be. Again, a lot of sugar. 2 hot dogs. Make sure those hot dogs don't have modified food starch. So this is the ingredients in Oscar Mayer burgers. I mean, hot dogs. You can see there's a lot of Dextrose, that's sugar. Hydrolyzed yeast, that's MSG, smoke flavor, not good. Sodium diacetate, sodium erythrobate, bait from sugar. Sodium nitrate sounds pretty dangerous to me. So make sure you get high quality hot dogs. Snacks, marble oranges. Okay, you can do that. I like the idea of having the whole orange versus orange juice. And then let's see, noodle, pea, carrot, chicken. I don't know what that is, but I like the chicken and the carrots and the peas. I don't know if I like the noodles. Granola bar, again, and 1/2 peanut butter sandwich. Okay, so Carol, we need to change some things here. Joanne, 1 1/2 cups of coffee with 4 level teaspoons of non-dairy creamer and sucralose. So there's basically, let's talk about coffee for a second. I'm not opposed to a small amount of coffee, but I did have one lady who consumed like 10 to 15 cups a day. That's way too much. 1 cup of coffee, okay, you can do that. I like the idea of having some organic cream because the non-dairy creamers have a lot of chemicals in them. So I would be careful of that. I like the idea of you taking sucralose. That is a sugar alcohol. So there's 2 types of sugars that are acceptable: sugar alcohols and stevia. The top of the list would be xylitol. I like that one the best because it creates the least amount of digestive issues, and it's from birch bark, and it tastes just like sugar. Xylitol with an X. Okay, that could be your sweetener. So as I'm looking at your breakfast, where's the food, Joanne? There's no food. So if she skips the breakfast at the evening time, she might crave the wrong thing. So she has pack of oodles of noodles. Again, no nutrition, all carbs. Dinner, sometimes noodles again, 2 cups of spaghetti, or 2 chicken legs, thigh breast with potato, green beans. Rarely afford beef, but if I do, it's usually only 1 medium to 1 patty, 1/2 cup of boxed mac and cheese, green beans, small piece of beef. Well, then why don't you buy eggs? Eggs are not that expensive. You know, you can get a whole dozen for $3. So that's something you might want to try, Joanne. And also, vegetables are not that expensive. So if you can't afford organic, then just have regular vegetables that are not organic, because some vegetables are better than no vegetables. Okay, Karen. So let's talk about Karen. Karen, oatmeal with blueberries. Again, the oatmeal is something we want to avoid. Walnuts are good, skim milk. I'm not opposed to that. Make sure it's hormone-free. Snacks, orange juice with seltzer water. There's a lot of sugar in orange juice, unfortunately. In fact, let me just show you real quick. Minute Maid. Look at how much sugar is in Minute Maid orange juice versus regular orange juice. So I'd rather, orange juice really has no nutritional value because it's pasteurized. All the vitamin C is destroyed. That's why they add vitamin C back into it, but it's always synthetic. There is no benefit to orange juice other than causing a destruction in your health because it's so high in sugar. Okay? It's only good if you add vodka and you make, no, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That's something you would do in college. Okay, 1 slice of whole grain bread with peanut butter. All right, so why don't you put the peanut butter on the celery? 2 slices of turkey rolled up with Swiss cheese. Oh, okay. I like that. That is a great idea, Karen. This is good. Just mix your cheese with your protein. Snack: 1 hard-boiled eggs, a few whole grain crackers or pretzels. All right, we need to cut that out. That's not a good snack. Sauteed onions, garlic. Let's see, collard, drained cabbage. Ooh, that's good. Oh, you stuck in the cornbread, barbecue chicken. You were almost there, Karen, but you added the cornbread. So that's the thing that would cut out. But you know, the barbecue sauce, there are barbecue sauces that you can buy with stevia. So just do a search on stevia sweetened barbecue sauce, and you'll find some really good ones. Okay, so I see you had some Italian ice cream. just to put the icing on the cake. So that probably will really just kind of destroy everything you did for that day, Karen. But that's because your breakfast was not strong enough with protein. That's the only reason you probably crave. Okay. Raquel or Rachel, breakfast protein powder. Let's see, she has hemp, rice, or pea. I like that. That's fine. Those are 3 good protein powders. Let's see, morning vitamins. Okay. So everything is good, but where's, okay, so you're just doing protein. I think that could be workable. Yeah, that could be workable if you have enough of the protein. But if you're going to do just protein like that, you're probably going to need at least 25 to 30 grams of protein. Okay? Next one is the snack, is the whole oats, oat milk, chia seeds, plain yogurt, okay, frozen berries. Okay, I like everything except the oats. Okay, let's nix that. Veggie tacos, sauteed. Sweet potato. Sweet potatoes, don't have them very often, but you can have them occasionally. Handful of kale, orange bell pepper, tortilla topped with 1 slice of mozzarella, hot sauce, hard-boiled eggs. Okay. So the corn, if we could just nix the corn, you'd be fine on that. Almonds is a great snack. Quinoa. Quinoa is okay. It's better than rice in small quantities. All right, so now we have sauteed vegetables. Totally fine. Okay, so far so good. So she's having a lot of veggies, so she's getting her nutrition. She's just throwing a few too many things in there that we need to correct. Kimberly. So Kimberly has the 2 eggs on the toast. So that's, again, you can see a pattern here with everyone, right? They like that toast. Blueberry smoothie with almond. Okay, that's good. Ooh, that's good. Avocado. I have a half an avocado with breakfast every morning with my eggs. Nuts are good. 2 eggs, buttered, gluten-free toast. Again, gluten-free, but it still is a carb. Now she has the blueberry smoothie with almond milk at night. That's interesting. Not a bad idea. Okay, Activia, low-fat yogurt, but I bet you it's flavored because it's hard to find plain Activia. There's a lot of sugar in that, by the way. And brand cereal, there's a lot of sugar in that. Apple, okay. Salad with fat-free dressing, no croutons. Okay. Sandwich. So just, the problem is going to be the bread on that, but I like the idea you're having a salad. That's really good. And also lean meat. Let's see, Fiber One chocolate bar. Yeah, I looked that up. Fiber One has a lot of syrup, corn syrup, rice syrup. It's 10 grams of sugar per bar. Yeah, it's just a little too much sugar. It's not a little too much, it's actually too much. So that is a situation. So I would avoid that as your snack. Dinner, chicken, fish, small amount of red meat with veggies, usually a starch, also potatoes. Yeah, so we got too much starch, too many refined carbs, and Beth is going to have a hard time losing weight on that. Okay, Tony. Let me just make sure there's no questions here. How do I feel about hemp protein? Yeah, hemp protein is totally fine. It's not bad. On some people, it's hard to digest, so you might want to see if it goes down well on your system. Let's see here. I want to just see something here. I want to scan to see if there's any more questions. Okay, Tony, let's see here. 12 ounces of kale smoothie with almond milk, spinach, apple, ginger, 2 eggs, large glass of lemon water. I like that. See, this is good. She has the apple cider. Tony has the apple cider vinegar with lemon water. That's really good to help satisfy the blood sugars as well. She has the vegetables. This would be a really good breakfast. Okay, good. Snack, apple, cheese, rye crisp. For those of you that don't know what that is, I'll show you a picture. This is an acceptable cracker that you could do. It's called rye crisp crackers. The thin ones, sometimes they have, I think, caraway seeds, but it's really thin. You can put cheese on it, and it's totally okay. All right, not a problem with that. Uh-oh, let me see if okay, let me just go through here and find there it's gone again. Let me try to find that thing. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Okay, so let me just go back here for a second. Tony. All right, so rye crisp crackers with almond butter, herbal tea, totally fine. Homemade soup, guacamole, hummus, omelet, totally fine. A bottle of water. I just want to make sure that you, Tony, you're not drinking water unless you're thirsty, because people are told that they need to drink. If you drink too much water, it's going to flush out electrolytes. So only drink when you're thirsty. If you're disagreeing with that, then watch my video on water and just get all the data. Okay, so now we got dinner. We got fish, chicken, veggie salad. Perfect. This is what I recommend. And then snack. Get the munchies badly in the evening. Now, if she's getting the munchies in the evening, then what happens is that we're going to have to add more fat in the breakfast time. So she may need to add a little bit more like avocado or butter or peanut butter with celery, because she's craving down here, or a little more protein. Yeah, or a couple more eggs. But look at, she craves chocolate, bread products, like an addict. So if you crave chocolate and bread, you may want to consume the B vitamins from it's called nutritional yeast, and that should curb your cravings for bread. Okay. Chocolate, that could be an adrenal issue. Let's see, I try to avoid and eat more veggies, but I find it hard to. Yeah, I would actually go with more fattier foods than veggies, like cheese, like peanut butter with celery. Let's see. Okay, she likes chocolate. All right. Let's take a look at something here. Let's take a look at this right here. Lily's chocolate is flavored with stevia. This would be a good chocolate to consume, because if you really need chocolate, at least it has 0 sugars. Okay, so Jim asked, could your kale shake or almond milk be a good breakfast? Yes, but it might not be enough protein. I do have another kale shake coming down the pike. It's going to take about 2 months to get it, though. It's going to have a high amount of protein, because some people are trying to get more protein, so I'm going to add more protein. But you'd have to add a couple eggs to that. It says, which do you prefer, egg protein powder or pea protein powder? Personally, I would do the egg protein powder in the shake. Absolutely. Nutritional yeast is so powerful in flavor. Can it go in soup? Can it be heated? Good question. Yes, it can be heated, but not overly heated. But yes, I like to put it in. You can put it in peanut butter. You can put it in plain yogurt. You can put it in soup. Absolutely. Okay, let's see here. All right, Lena, breakfast. Let's see what she consumes. I guess that's not 80 ounces of juice. That must be 8-ounce glass juice, vegetables and fruit. Wait a half hour, then have a cup of coffee, no sugar. She has the pumpernickel bagel or toast bread with grass-fed butter. So the question is, what do you put your butter on? I am going to release very soon a recipe for English muffins that you can make that taste just like English muffins, but they're not made from any wheat at all or grains. So I will send it out, so that way you can put your butter on it. It's from one of my patients who had this recipe. I loved it. It was amazing. So I will make it and then share that on a video, okay? All right, so we got, let's see, occasional weekends omelet. All right, sandwich. That bread needs to go. Some days I skip breakfast, just have my juice and coffee. Yeah, well, at night you're going to crave. Okay, she also has, for lunch, vegetables. Good, she has that. What else? Let's see, mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is totally fine. Don't worry about that. Let's see. Oh, here we go. 1 teaspoon of agave nectar. Agave nectar is very similar to honey. It still turns into sugar, fat. I mean, almost as close as honey. And so it's not a low glycemic sweetener. I don't recommend it, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Okay, she has barbecue chicken. And she had the fries or rice. Okay, that is an issue. Whole grain. It's going to stop weight loss. Potatoes. So we're going to have to just avoid all the starches. Let's see. They're meat eaters. That's fine, but just don't add all the starches and carbs. Okay. All right. Here we go. Kerrygold butter is the best butter because it's grass-fed butter, and Kerrygold also makes the best cheese. I love this cheese. It's really good. And it's grass-fed. So it has vitamin K too. So let's see. Jacqueline says, all this works, no doubt about it, but I always fail to maintain the changes to my diet and revert back to old ways and gain the weight back. How do I stop this? Well, I just created a video on that. It should come out tomorrow on self-discipline because it's something that people slide into. Because the thing with your body, instantly create a healthy body. And it's something that takes work, just like a relationship. You have to constantly put it there. So you might slide into old habits, but I think what you should do is find these little substitute things that you really like, recipes that are like healthy junk food. You can download it on my website and start incorporating healthier ways to make the junk food and make sure it's healthy. And that way you're not necessarily depriving yourself. Okay, Diane says, I wake up very hungry. So let me just see what she's doing here. If you're waking up hungry, then we need to make sure that we add more protein or some fat. But she wants salty pretzels and chocolate and a glass of good wine. So here's the thing. If you have low blood sugars, you really need to work on fixing that. I have a lot of videos on how to deal with blood sugar issues and what you should eat. So to the point where your blood sugars are better and better and better, because I will tell you that if your sugars are low, if you have low blood sugars, you will crave because of that. So as you do this, you're going to have to start realizing that your cravings won't go away until your blood sugars are well established. I used to have hypoglycemic so bad, but I tell you, the eating plan that I'm showing you right here will correct it over time. All right? Is Kerrygold organic? As far as I know it is, but it's grass-fed, so I'm almost 100% positive it is, because I know they don't put pesticides on it. Beth says, I find if I eat in the morning when I'm not hungry, I'm starving all day. Oh, you get up at 5. Okay. Well, maybe you should just eat at 8 or 9. So just, yeah, because the whole circadian rhythm doesn't kick in because you're waking up extra early. So that's fine. You can eat at 9 or 10, not a problem. And that works for you, totally fine. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Cheryl, 2 eggs. Here we go with the toast again. Sourdough, spelt, steel cut oatmeal, honey. It's just going to be too much carbs, Cheryl. Okay, Greek yogurt, blueberries, avocado. I like this. I like this snack, but the apple juice has to go. Sorry. Lean protein, good. Apple or roll nuts with cheese. Okay, lean protein. Everything else is good. Of course, ice cream needs to go. There are types of ice cream that are 0 carbs. You can try to find some. I think I have that in my little booklet on my website. You can download it. Here's a little chart that will give you some data on fat burning. On one of my links on my website, Fat Burning Foods, after ebooks, you can download this little sheet. Some of you have it already, but it's a good little summary of what we talked about with fat burning. So it's drberg.com ebooks/fat burning foods for fat-burning-foods. Okay, you can download that. Albert, breakfast. He gets up too late, around 10, 11. Maybe a bowl of cereal. You sound like me when I was 18, Albert. Snack. Whatever food is available. Okay. Lunch. Whatever's available. Chili. Lux beans in a can. Maybe a frozen pizza or canned food. So, Albert, either you're new to my website and you have not watched any of the videos that I had over the last 15 years, or, you know, or maybe that's the reason, or you're not complying with what I'm recommending. But Albert, I recommend get on my list, start watching the videos, start getting educated on what you need to do. But you definitely need some serious changes with your eating plan. But I appreciate you being honest. Thank you. Evelyn, okay, we have 1 egg, bacon, half tomato, totally fine. Not a problem with this breakfast. Make sure you put no sweeteners in the coffee unless it's xylitol. I think maybe this is some rye cracker. I'm not sure what that is with lemon, tomato salad with lettuce. Okay, so this is good. This is good. I think this is a rye cracker thing. These are sultanas, are like raisins. They do have a bit too much sugar, so you might not want to add that. I like the rolled nuts though. I like the steak and vegetables and fresh fruit. So I think, Evelyn, you're real close. And again, you're having vegetables all over the place, so that's good. Here's that little sheet that I listed. And I'm going to, every month that I do these webinars, I always give people a kind of a little bonus for being on my website. A lot of you are taking the wheatgrass juice powder. If you go to Amazon.com and you enter the code, you can take $10 off this product. It's basically, it's not wheatgrass juice powder. It's wheatgrass, I'm sorry, it's not wheatgrass powder, it's wheatgrass juice powder. 1 teaspoon is equivalent to 14 shots of wheatgrass juice powder. If there are days that I don't have enough vegetables, I will do the wheatgrass juice powder. If I'm working out and training intensely, I'll do 2 teaspoons of the wheatgrass juice powder. There's it's a bit better than my multivitamin, mineral, super nutrient, and the trace minerals because it's grown on soils that are very fertile with the trace minerals. So this is something that to really spike, like it's kind of like the best multivitamin mineral that you can get because it has the trace minerals and it's super concentrated and it doesn't taste too bad. But when you mix it in water, it's a little clumpy because I didn't want, so it's the real high quality stuff. So again, this is, you have to go to Amazon and you click in this, but all I ask, if you get this, all I'm going to ask you is to write an unbiased review on this product because I would really appreciate that. Okay, so if you wanted to test it out, but for those that are already getting this, I'm giving you a little discount with that. Each month I'll do something like this, so it's $10 off. Now, I'm going to answer some questions. Okay, so Linda said she's on auto ship for wheatgrass. Yes, so what we'll do, Linda, is call the office and have them, if you're already on auto ship, we'll allow you to just take an additional $10 off because I don't think you're getting, auto ship is not on Amazon, so call the office and I will let them do that. Just tell them I said it's okay. Okay, you also mentioned you do the kale shake and refrigerate it overnight. That is really good to do because if you keep a kale shake in your refrigerator overnight, the enzymes help break down the product more, so it's easier to digest in the morning. What I'm doing now is I'm taking the kale already chopped up. I buy it chopped up, and then um, I put it in the freezer. So then I take that frozen kale and blend it with fruit, and it really turns out really good. Okay, Patricia, she says, it sounds like you are recommending a no carb diet. What if I go to the gym to lift weights and play tennis? Should I have some extra carbs? So Patricia, you're going to get your carbs from all those vegetables. But let's pretend that you're not interested in losing weight. Then you can have more fruit carbs. But what we're trying to avoid is the carbs that turn into sugar quickly, the refined grains, the breads, pastas, cereal, crackers. There's this thought out there that you need this sugar to get energy, but you really don't, because your body will turn that even protein into the sugar that you need, because your body is always storing a certain amount of sugar. So it is a myth that you need excess sugar for energy. In fact, the excess sugar will cause you to become more tired. So in other words, if you consume the excess sugar, it will take away from your energy, then it will give you energy. Okay, so let me see if I have any other questions here. What type of diet works good for scleroderma and all esophageal, stomach, and intestinal issues? Um, Again, you would need to stick with the eating plan with the adrenal, because that's an autoimmune thing. But I will say intestinal issues do really well on cabbage. Cabbage has a certain chemical in there that is really good for the digestive tract. Um, let's see here. Kimberly, when I eat a lot of protein, my kidneys hurt. Well, then we know that you're probably a liver case, and I would consume small amounts of protein. 3 ounces, that's a situation. You don't want to consume. If you're eating a food and you have a reaction to it, then we can narrow down what kind of body type you are based on that. So that's actually good data. Also, it says I don't eat a full meal. I feel pain around my liver and gallbladder. Well, I would love, Kim, for you to send me what you eat so I can dissect that and see why that is. You may need a more something like some gallbladder formula to help loosen up the bile ducts to get more bile. John says, is frozen kale from the supermarket okay to use in this shake instead of fresh? Yeah, because that is fresh. It's just frozen. Not a problem. Okay, says, I love the wheatgrass. My husband and I have been using it for about 1 year. It gives me lots of energy. Yeah, the wheatgrass is the most powerful thing that I have, because it's so super concentrated, and you're getting a tremendous amount of nutrition because it's a juice powder grown on ancient seabeds, so it has all the trace minerals. But I like that the best. I basically take that as my multi everything, especially when I'm working out, and it has a lot of chlorophyll too, and it has no gluten. Okay, Emily says, will I eventually stop having intense cravings around the monthly cycle if I start eating? No, Emily, what we need to do is we need to fix your menstrual cycle, which is then throwing your hormones off, causing you to crave. So what I'm going to recommend is you take the ovary support formula to handle the cycle. And if you're in the area, stop my office and let me check you. If you're not, I would take the ovary formula, because it's not really a food issue. It's a menstrual cycle issue that we need to solve by fixing the ovarian output of estrogen. Sarah says, I developed a yeast infection a week ago, later after starting nutritional yeast. I highly doubt that the yeast infection that you have is coming from your nutritional yeast, because it's actually not something that is going to give you yeast. you have a balance of good yeast and unfriendly yeast. The good yeast will only provide the good yeast. It will not add the bad yeast in there. The yeast infections usually come from something that's destroying the natural good yeast inside your system. So I have a hard time believing it came from that. Kimberly says, where do I send my diet information? I would call my office on the website and get Roxana's email. She's my communicator, and I get all the emails to her. Okay, supplements for a diabetic besides nutritional yeast. I should probably create a video on that, but definitely, number one, my adrenal day formula called pancreatrophin. Get that from my office. That's good for pancreatrophin, PMG. Write that down. And I would do those two things. That would help your blood sugars and support healthy sugars. Hair thinning. Well, you have to watch the next video that I have next Tuesday. I'll release that one on hair. I'm going to talk about how to get your hair really solid. In fact, I used it on my wife, and it worked very well. And she's 52, and she started losing hair. I gave her this thing. Boom. Hair came right back. Okay. I have a friend who had a pinched nerve at L5, now getting a foot drop. I recommend her to take ionic minerals and bowel salts. Any recommendation? Well, foot drop usually is coming from some type of pinched nerve at L5. If there's no injury involved, it could be virus related, and that's why the trace minerals help, because trace minerals put viruses back in remission. Okay, Jim says, any recommendations for food to eat when you're on the road, travel a lot? Nuts, cheese, celery, fruit, apples. Okay, John, if I consume wheatgrass juice powder, would there be any need for organic cruciferous food? Don't like to eat a lot of vegetables. Well, it's the best way to get your nutrition from the wheatgrass other than eating the vegetables. So yes, that would be an alternative, because think about it. 1 teaspoon is equal to 14 shots of wheatgrass juice. 14 shots of wheatgrass juice, that is like equivalent to a huge tray of wheatgrass, 20 by 10 inches, 20 inches by 10 inches in 1 teaspoon. So if you had one of those, you'd be getting every single nutrient you would need, including all the fat, almost all the fat soluble vitamins in 1 teaspoon. And you put that in water and slug it down, and you'll start feeling a lot more energy. Let's see. Beatrice says, I'm 60 and probably a mix between adrenal and estrogen. I do not like dairy except full fat cheeses. Would you recommend? How would you recommend getting enough calcium? Well, I would get it from, get the full fatty cheeses. I would eat the cheese, fatty cheese. I would also get something called kefir, plain kefir. But also, if you want to get your calcium, realize that you're going to need vitamin D and vitamin K2. I have some videos on that. So instead of trying to add more calcium, get the vitamins that transport calcium, and the bones will be much, much better, especially if you're 60. Okay, so Bradley, a teaspoon of turmeric and half glass of warm water, orange juice at night also do. No, turmeric is totally fine. It's a really good product. I like that, not a problem. Debbie says, is it necessary to worry about calories? No, it's not. It's the type of food that you need, not the calories. Okay, so I would recommend basically sticking with what I talked about here, and you'll come out ahead, but don't worry about the calories. So it's been an hour, and I want to thank everyone for coming on the seminar. If you'd like, I will continue to do these monthly just to share some good information. And I'll leave this up for a couple of minutes. If you want to test out the wheatgrass juice, you can order that. You have to go to Amazon.com and just type under wheatgrass juice and Dr. Berg, and it'll pop right up. Okay? Have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you very soon. All right? Thanks for your interest, everyone.